Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Zooba here with my amazing stories reviews. And now, part two, or the second episode in my Trilogy of Stupid episodes from Amazing Stories. I just did an episode called Remote Control Man, which was the first episode in my Trilogy of Stupid. And the second episode in the Trilogy of Stupid for me is called Fine Tuning. Again, we're dealing with television. A lot of Spielberg's ideas, because he comes up with the original stories for like so many of these episodes in the series, and then someone writes the teleplay from his story. I can just picture him sitting in a room, thinking up the entire two-season series where, okay, now we're going to do an episode about a man who sits in the bathroom all day and he's visited by characters from classic television shows. Maybe that's an idea. And then another episode is a man drives to an old movie theater, drive-in theater, and he is sitting in his car, and all of a sudden he goes back in time and they're playing all these first run films from the 20s and 30s, and all the characters start coming off the screen and jumping in his car with him. It just seems like he just has all these ideas that just get turned into amazing stories, 25-minute episodes. Bravo, Spielberg, you got to do it. And I would say that Amazing Stories on a whole was a great idea, harkening back to the classic Alfred Hitchcock's and Twilight Zones, to do interesting stories. But I'd say 80% of the two seasons was just pretty bad stuff that they spent a lot of money on and didn't really come off that well. But like I said again, he was Spielberg. He was hot at the time, and he was given the money, and NBC green-lighted this, and there are some good, maybe I would say, 30% of the 100% of the output was worth something, and the 70% was, I don't know about the ratio there, but, the majority of it was pretty bad. Anyway, back to the episode, the second in my Trilogy of Stupid, Fine Tuning. Fine Tuning was episode 7 of season 1, and it aired originally November 10th, 1985. It stars as a high school student Matthew Laborteaux, who can be remembered from Little House on the Prairie. He was the brunette boy from Little House on the Prairie series. He's a likable young man. He plays a high school student who's doing a science project. He's into television sets and taking them apart and doing things, and he has a couple of buddies, and he has this project where he's trying to fix the antenna on his TV set to pick up long distances, pick up television transmissions from long distances, like he picks up China and different states in the U.S., and one day, magically, he picks up outer space. He picks up outer space, where he's in tune with transmissions coming from a planet where these alien creatures are emulating, 1950s television. So you see these aliens dressed up like Lucy and Desi and Fred and Ethel in an I Love Lucy. Evidently they were getting transmissions from Earth, and they really liked I Love Lucy, so they began to emulate their favorite shows. And so you see these alien creatures dressed up like Lucy and Desi and Fred and Ethel and George Burns and Gracie, and they're doing remakes of the shows. And anyway, this young boy, Matthew, picks up a transmission coming from a planet where he sees these aliens doing I Love Lucy. It's pretty silly. His buddies come over, and they find out that these aliens are planning a trip to Earth so they can meet their their favorite television stars. They want to meet Ricky and Lucy and all these people. Milton Berle, they want to meet these classic television people. So they find out that they're coming to Earth on this certain day, and they're going to come to Hollywood to make their dreams come true and meet these Earthlings that have inspired them to do television. They land in Hollywood, so the boys go, we're going to go find them. We have to go look for aliens. So they go down to the Hollywood Boulevard area, and they find these three little alien creatures in like trench coats with glasses, with mustaches and big noses, and like hats. They look like Columbo or something, and they're so silly looking. They look like, please excuse the remark, but they look like penises. Their heads and faces look like human penises with, wrinkled and everything. It's like, where did that come from? So, as you can see, this is sort of a silly, stupid part of my trilogy of stupid. It's just really unbelievable to the max. Totally unbelievable. These boys become friends with the aliens, take them to a burger joint where they suck the burgers into their snouts. Then the aliens like the boys, and they let them into their spaceship. And it sort of reminds me of Explorers, the Joe Dante feature film, where you see the alien spaceship and you get to go in there. And anyway, before they go into the spaceship, the boys take them on a Hollywood tour in a bus. And they see Milton Berle in his neighborhood jogging. Yeah, like that's really going to happen. And the bus pulls over and they jump out and they meet Milton Berle, who talks to them like, it's an everyday occurrence. And the boys tell him, oh, Milton, these aliens want to take you back to their planet so you can, because they love you so much. And, it's just stupid. Milton Berle probably had fun doing it, but it's just very silly. Anyway, like I said, the aliens take the boys to their spaceship. And since Milton Berle can't go to the planet, all these other vaudevillians of the day, comedians and television people, I guess, that went into TV in the 30s and whatever, come on board the ship and perform for the aliens. And then, it's almost like it reminded me of Cocoon, where these old has-been vaudevillians might have a new life going to another planet and performing. I don't know if they actually stay on board, but I think they just perform and then they let them off the ship. And then they go away. And it's so weird. The boys, his apartment, Matthew's apartment happens to be right where he can look out the window and see the Hollywood sign like a block away, like in glorious Technicolor and all lit up. And when the spaceship takes off, it hovers above the Hollywood sign. And boy, isn't that set up. It's just really silly. I didn't really care for it. It was just a big mess and not worth your time. I give this episode a 1. Music score was by a composer, Jonathan Tunick, and it was quite unmemorable. I don't even remember it. And so that was episode 2 of my trilogy of stupid. The next one will be The Greeble, directed by Joe Dante. Oh my. In the words of the immortal George Takei, or George Takei, how do you say it? George Takei. It rhymes with toupee. It rhymes with toupee, George Takei. Oh my. And that's it. Please leave comments below and subscribe, and I'll be doing more episodes if you so like, and please enjoy them or leave your comments, whatever. Thanks for stopping by. Zooba out.